Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Mohsin Mullah, and in this video lecture we are going to see about how to derive the coordination equation. But before going to that, let us just go through some of the things that we had covered in previous video lecture, and there will be a link to the derivation that we are going to do in this video lecture. So in the previous video lecture we had seen about the economic load distribution between different plants in an integrated system considering transmission losses. So we started with a number of plants connected to a power system. So PG1 to PGM will be the generation of the different plants. Then we saw that the total demand will be supplied by the total summation of the generation in this particular equation here. Then also we try to represent the losses in terms of the generation function of the generation. Okay, so therefore by using the Lagrangian optimum you can say technique, we tried to obtain one equation which was represented like this. Then by using differentiation to obtain the optimum condition, we try to obtain a equation which is known as the equation number 5 here. Okay, so this is the basic equation for optimum operation of the plant. That means the incremental fuel cost of the number of plants can be determined by or you can say minimum incremental fuel cost of the number of power plants can be determined by using this equation number 5, or whatever equations will come out of this equation number 5. Solving those equations will be able to get the values of that incremental fuel cost for, or minimum incremental fuel cost for various plants. Okay, then finally we got one equation number 6, which is called as exact coordination equation, where this particular bracket value is called as the penalty factor. Therefore the value of lambda is now given by lambda equal to that dCN by dPgn into 1 divided by, like that. But we can try to represent the same lambda as we can write that lambda as, so dCN by dPgn is nothing but the incremental fuel cost. So incremental fuel cost. Okay, so without you can say transmission line losses, this was the only value we used to obtain for lambda. But now since the transmission line is also considered, now we need to use the penalty value also in that. So that penalty value is nothing but 1 minus the incremental transmission losses. Incremental transmission losses. Okay, because you can just refer the equation numbers 6 here. So or just before that equation, so here this particular represents the incremental value and this denominator is that. So just by writing the same terms in wordings, we will be able to write for lambda as incremental cost divided by 1 minus incremental transmission losses. So this can be considered as equation number 7. And also from equation 6 we can try to obtain, from equation 6 we can try to obtain dC1 divided by, so as equation 6 represents dC lambda equals to dCN by dPgn into Ln. So likewise for first generating station, so we can write dC1 divided by dPg1 L1. Okay, that should be equal to d C2 divided by dPg2 L2, and that will be equal to dC3 divided by dPg3 L3, and this will continue up to the last term dCm divided by dPgm into Lm, and this value will be equal to lambda. This is equation number 8. So minimum fuel cost is obtained when the incremental fuel cost of each plant multiplied by its penalty factor is the same for all the plants. So here this is the incremental fuel cost of first plant, and this is L1 is the penalty factor of the first plant. Then first this dC2 by dPg2 represents the incremental fuel cost of the second plant, and L2 represents the penalty factor. So multiplication of those two will be equal to the first plant. Likewise, if there are number of plants, then all the terms that will be a product of the incremental fuel cost and penalty will be exactly same for all the plants. Okay, Okay, so that is the you can say optimum condition for operation of the plants which are integrated in the power system. That means a number of plants which are situated at various places with certain long distances between them, so those plants will incur their own transmission losses, so that is also being accounted in this particular expression here. Okay, so you can just try to remember this point. Okay, then now let us try to obtain the equation of coordination. So coordination equation is basically expression which represents the coordination between various generating units as regards to the load allocation. Okay, so here coordination equation, let me just write some points here so that we can relate to the derivation. So 1 second. Okay, so coordination equation represents the coordination between represents the coordination between various generating units as regards to their load location. Okay, now let us try to obtain the same. If C is the total cost, Pg is the total generation for the system having n units, the coordination equation can be formed as C equal to C1 plus C2 plus so on plus Cn. So let this equation number 1, and Pg will be equal to Pg1 plus Pg2 plus so on up to Pgn. Equation number 2, assuming that the total load Pd at the receiving end is constant. Assuming that the total load at the receiving end is constant, we can try to write Pg minus Pd will be equal to constant, sorry, not Pg minus Pd, Pg minus PL equals to constant Pd. That is equation number 3. Okay, where PL is nothing but PL is transmission loss. Okay, so whatever is generated minus the transmission loss is nothing but the demand. Therefore, we can try to obtain the differential terms. So we can write dPg minus dPL equal to, as the PD is constant, so differentiation of PD will become 0. So this is the fourth equation. And now let us try to represent this differential terms dPg and dPL, where we can just write, and dPg is nothing but it is differential value of dpg1, differential value of dpg2, so on dpgn. So let this be equation number 5. And the transmission power loss is a function of plant outputs. Okay, the transmission power loss PL is a function of plant outputs, because we have assumed that the voltage is going to remain constant. Therefore, if output is increased, that time the losses in the transmission line will increase. So therefore we can try to represent this dPL in terms of the that output just by taking this partial derivative as dou PL divided by dou Pg1 into dPg1 plus dou PL divided by dou Pg2 into dPg2 plus so on, plus finally we can write for nth term dou PL by dou Pgn into dPgn. So let this equation number 6. Now from equation number 4, 5 and 6 we have, so by substituting this equation number 5 and 6, particularly in equation 4 we get, so we can write here from equations 4, 5 and 6 we have dPg minus dPL equal to 0. So substituting dPg terms and dPL terms here. Okay, so dPg, one term I'll just substitute here. So dPg is nothing but dPg1 minus dPL is nothing but, it is dou PL divided by dou Pg1 minus dou Pg into dPg1. Similarly we can write for the second term, so it will be Pg2 dou PL divided by dou Pg2 into dPg2. So this will continue so on, okay, when we substitute. So finally what we can try to write from this expression is this infinite summation is that, okay, so final term also we can try to write from this expression here. Okay, but let it be, so you can understand here. So here pg1 dpg1 is constant, dpg2 in second term, likewise in all the terms that generating output term will be constant. So therefore what we can write by taking that generating term as a common term, so here dpg1 is taken common, so it will become 1 minus dou pl divided by dou pg1 into dpg1. For the second term 1 minus dou PL divided by dou Pg2 into dPg2 plus so on. Okay, so we can keep on writing the same, and plus we can write here for the last term 1 minus dou PL divided by dou Pgn into dPgn. So this let this equation number be 7. Okay, or also we can try to now take that dpg1 as we can say common term from all the expressions and take it to the left hand side. So by using that we can try to write here as this sum equals to 0, so here it is equal to 0. So now let me just write it completely. So what I'll do, I'll take this first term to the left hand side, so here dpg1 will come 1 minus dou pl divided by dou pg1. Okay, so this is what we are going to get here in the first term. That will be equal to second term 1 minus dou PL divided by dou Pg2 into dPg2 plus so on. Or you can write one more term if you want here. So I'll just write the third term 1 minus dou PL divided by dou Pg3 into dPg3 plus so on here continuing plus 1 minus dou PL divided by dou PGN into dPGN. Okay, so now here we can try to take the that bracket term to the denominator of each of this term, just keeping the minus dPg1 on the left hand side. Therefore we'll keep minus dPg1 only on the left hand side. We get 1 minus dou PL by dou Pg2 divided by 1 minus dou PL by dou Pg1 into dPg2 as it is, plus 1 minus for the second term that we have written for dPg3, this bracket divided by, again in the denominator, that common term 1 minus dou PL divided by dou Pg1 into dPg2, plus this will continue so on, and we can write plus 1 minus dou PL divided by dou PGN divided by 1 minus dou PL divided by dou Pg1 times dPgn for the nth term. Okay, so this is what we actually get by substituting, or you can say by rearranging the terms of that dPgn equation. Okay, so now for C to be minimum, what is the condition that we have considered? For C to be minimum, differentiation of C has to be 0. Okay, so now let us try to write for that. For C to be minimum, so what we can write for that? Differentiation of C should be equal to 0. So differentiation of C is nothing but, already we have written the formula for that. So it will be dou C divided by dou Pg1 into dPg1 plus dou C divided by dou Pg2 into dPg2 plus so on. Dou C divided by dou Pgn into Pgn. So this is equation number 9. Okay, so now let us try to substitute for that Pg1 term here. So already we have got that Pg1 term, so let us try to substitute that, and let us try to write one more equation from this here. Okay, substituting the value of dPg1 from equation 8. This is equation number 9, I think. Yeah, this is equation number 9, equation number 8 in equation 9. Okay, so in equation 9 we are going to substitute for that dPg1. So let me just try to write here. So what we're gonna get from this is dou C divided by dou Pg1. So the dPg1 is minus 1 minus dou Pg1 whole divided by 1 minus dou PL by dou Pg1